TC Electronic has just released the Ditto 2, the new member in a long and distinguished line of looper pedals that started in what now feels like 12 centuries ago with the regular Ditto. As usual, a few seconds of housekeeping. TC have kindly asked me to make this video, but as usual, any opinions expressed in this video are purely mine. They didn't tell me what to say, they had no editorial control over the video, and they're not going to watch it before it goes out. That said, as the name implies, this is the sequel to the original single knob looper that probably taught you how to overdub in the first place. Is it actually an upgrade, or just a slightly shinier reboot? Let's find out. Ditto 2 is still mono in, mono out, still single foot switch, still single knob, but now it lives in a more angular enclosure with updated graphics, quite spiffy, and a matte grey paint job. Under the hood, you get up to 10 minutes of loop time, optional overdubs with undo and redo, true unbuffered bypass, there's a trick to that, 32-bit 44.1 kHz audio, and you get no screens with menus to dive through, which is not to say there aren't a few tricks up its sleeve. More of those in a bit, but first we have to talk about the more obvious physical difference between this and the old Ditto, the foot switch. Honestly, TC, what took you this long? I'm a sucker for a nice feeling foot switch, in part because I don't always use my pedals on the floor, but also because in the heat of the moment you need a tactile response that leaves no room for doubt that you press the switch, but without having to poke a hole through the floor like with some cheap switches. And honestly, after having used the mash switches for years now, even though I love the versatility of having a sort of expression pedal in every switch, my main complaint about them has always been the lack of feedback when used for the main function, you know, the click on, click off thing. This is where I feel TC have absolutely knocked it out of the park with this new magnetic switch. It's not easy to describe the feeling, but if you've ever used a good mechanical keyboard before, you will instantly recognize the characteristics. There's some resistance to the initial pressure, and then it just clicks. It leaves no room for doubt that you did. Then you release the pressure, and I'm putting it here because of the microphone, and it just jumps back, you know. And even though it's not doing any mash functions in the Ditto 2, it does have the characteristic rubber gasket. I don't know that you can see it up there at the top of the button. I'll put B-roll over, but it has the rubber gasket of other mash switches, so if you press harder when you reach the bottom of the travel, you can feel it give. So, who knows where it might end up? Honestly, might be the most satisfying foot switch I've ever used. Yeah, I know, I don't get out much. Now for the stuff under the hood, LoopSnap, which you can activate using the side switch that also wasn't there in the original looper, in the original Ditto I mean. In the bottom position, the Ditto does the traditional Ditto thing, but if you slide it up to the middle position, you get what they now call user mode, which by default has LoopSnap active. There's a third position at the top of the switch, we'll visit that in the next section. For now, back to LoopSnap. Is your playing a bit off? LoopSnap will adjust your loop boundaries quietly so that the timing feels right, even if your execution wasn't right. It's not quantizing your audio, it's not making it faster or slower or anything, and it won't magically fix an absolute train wreck, but it will smooth out the kind of barely off loops that aren't quite right. It's like driving a really good dual clutch auto gearbox, but hey, if manual gearboxes are still your thing, I'm not judging. I still drive one. Now about that third switch position, you'll notice that it's not latching, it drops off, you know. And that's because its only function is to activate the Bluetooth connection to the new TC app. Yay, stop groaning, I know, I get you. You can grab the app from the App Store on iOS, Play Store on Android. Hear me out. You don't have to use the app if you don't want to. The two main functions in the looper, so regular looping or LoopSnap, can be selected out of the box without ever going to the app. So I've grabbed my phone, I've got the app running, I'm going to pull this into Bluetooth mode by pulling and holding the switch for a couple of seconds until the switch goes blue. And now on my phone I can see Ditto 2 looper connected, I can tap on it. So what I have here now is the possibility of selecting between single tap looping and Ditto looping. Simple tap looping is something that you can select if you don't want to be bothered with overdubs and all of that stuff. What it does is tap to record, tap to play, tap to stop, and the loop is clear. Ditto looping, traditional style looping. Record, play, overdub, play, long press, undo, long press, redo, double tap, stop, press and hold, clear. And you also have the option of turning off LoopSnap. So if you really wanted to, your user mode can be as simple as simple tap looping, no LoopSnap, so no hand holding. I'm going to leave it in Ditto Looping. I'm going to leave LoopSnap off because if you come to the setup side, this is where you pick bypass mode, and you can go between true bypass and buffered bypass. Here's the catch. You can only select true bypass if LoopSnap is off. The moment I turn LoopSnap on, bypass mode goes to buffered. This is because for it to know what it can do in terms of hand-holding you through your looping, it needs to be recording the signal of your guitar as you're playing, not necessarily as you're looping, because it needs a bit of room to move back and forth. So it has to be in buffered bypass for LoopSnap to be active. You don't want any of that. Turn off LoopSnap, true bypass, you're golden. The other things you can do in the setup, you can check for firmware. Mine is up to date, version 1.3.0. You can reset the default, and you can set a pin code for Bluetooth in case you want to protect yourself from some funny people logging into your looper while you're using it. Not great. I think that's it for the app. See? Painless. So for the last feature, I don't know if you've noticed, probably did, while I was tapping just to show you the differences between the loop settings. The LED is now multicolored, which means that you now have more color codes to memorize. No, it's simple. So white LED means that there's nothing in memory, it's clear, ready to go. Tap, red means recording. I can hear the synth crowd sniggering, you can all stop now. Tap again, green means that it's playing the loop. I'm going to demo this with sound in a bit so you can see what's going on. Tap again, it's purple. It means that it's overdubbing. So loop recording playing on top of what was already there. Tap again, green means it's playing. Double tap, yellow means it's stopped. So if you tap again, it goes to green, it's playing. Double tap to stop. Long press, erase, white LED. When it's white, it means there's empty, you're good to go again. So it sounds complicated, but becomes second nature like 5 minutes after using. Probably the easiest user interface short of having a screen, probably better than some that do have screens. But if you're not going to be using overdubs, just turning it in simple mode, off you go. And did I mention the knob? Simple, volume, full clockwise, unity gain, turn it down to mix your looping with your real-time playing. If the loop's really bad, just turning all the way off. Okay, we've gone over what's in the Ditto 2. Now for what it isn't. As I mentioned before, it's still mono. So if stereo is your thing, you probably stopped watching this video ages ago anyway, so you know. It doesn't have any loop storage. It doesn't have file transfer. The USB port is firmware update only. So what you play into it is what you get. Turn off the power, it's gone. Also, quite obviously, no MIDI, no sync with other loopers or any other gear. So again, if that's your jam, you're gonna have to look elsewhere. This is still built for simplicity, just like the original Ditto was. Just now it has a bit of extra hand-holding. So what do I think of the Ditto 2? It's the evolution of that simple pedalboard-friendly concept that made the original Ditto so popular, only smoother, tighter, bit smarter. Magnetic foot switch alone might be worth the cost of admission, and LoopSnap can catch those mistakes that could otherwise ruin the perfect loop, and it'll fix them in a transparent way. As you've seen, the app is 100% optional. It's just useful for tweaking or for firmware updates. So at the end of the day, this is a worthy successor to the original. Who's it for, though? So it might be easier to start with who it isn't for. Advanced players looking for stereo, multitracking, loop syncing, storage, integrated shower and air fryer, MIDI, blah blah blah. No, this isn't for you. Everybody else, from players new to the looping world who just want something basic and user-friendly, to those advanced players who just want a simple pedalboard-friendly looper, it's a very serious contender. What if you already have the original one? Well, maybe the new features will win you over, maybe not. So just go check it out, see for yourself, because no video will allow you yet to feel the mechanical feedback of this foot switch or the slight timing help from LoopSnap. So this is a decision you should make after trying it out. So get your ass to a shop, try one out, then let me know your thoughts. And now, because my producer keeps pestering me to do a proper ending to the videos, I'm Philippe, this is Pedal Platform, and this was a deep dive into the Ditto 2. The looper for people who don't want to read 10 pages of manuals just to play the 12-bar blues. Hit like and subscribe for more pedal talk, and I'll see you next time.